Most people don't think anymore. I don't want this video to come off as narcissistic because I know I'm not a perfect person. But the more I go through my day to day life and I interact with strangers, which I do pretty frequently, I interact with a lot of random people at cafes, out at the bars, whatever. And this also doesn't just go for strangers, this goes for some of my friends that I hold dear to me. I notice that a lot of the people I interact with in life don't really think about things that matter, that truly matter. You might have noticed recently in the past year or so that a lot of people around my age, I'm 24, are focused on politics. And if they're not focused on politics, they're very career driven. And if they don't have a career, they're trying to find something that will fulfill them. And although this might be good, the people who are interacting with all this stuff, they don't really have a reason behind why they're doing it. So a lot of people will choose a career and they think that it will bring them money and temporary fulfillment, or they get satiated somehow. It provides comfort, but there's no deeper reason behind it. I first realized this when I was going to go to the University of Utah, which is the college at in my state. I was going to go there for a business degree. And not too long before I was set to go, I decided that I wanted to make YouTube videos and I wanted to become a video editor. And not just that, I wanted a reason for it. So the content I wanted to make, I wanted to inspire people to think. And, soon after that, I found God and I found deeper reasons for everything within my content and reasons to live. The people who just choose a career and, just float their way through life, they aren't getting anywhere because there's no end goal for them. They don't even have a sight of where it will lead to. They're just trying to stay comfortable until death. And I have this, metaphor that I always say that somebody else told me. Living that way where you are just trying to find a career, all the shit, you're driving 90 miles an hour into a brick wall because this way they live, they can't bring with them after they die. So when you do start to ask questions, and I wrote down a list for you to think about, I'm going to share with you in a minute, you need to have something you're offering it to and a gradation of it. And the purest thing you can offer everything to would be God. A lot of people my age are depressed, or at least in this general area of age, are very depressed because they look at the current housing situation, they look at the job market, they are in shambles with the dating scene as well. There's just constant negatives in every realm. But the only way to never be attached to it is to put your faith into something higher and the highest ideal, which would be with God. The reason the lifestyle of, this casual workflow and everything that's been shown to you since you were a kid, the lifestyle that they tell you should have, the reason it doesn't ever truly fulfill you is because it's not the truth. It's not the end all be all. And it's all temporary and rooted in materialism. And so anyone who's seen Fight Club knows, that reference that we work these jobs for people we don't care. We work to get things for people we don't care about. And a lot of people, they're like, wow, this is so deep, this is so life-changing. And then they proceed to live this exact same way for the rest of their life. When I was around, I think 19 to 20 is when I started believing in God again. I grew up Mormon, and then I became an atheist, and then I started dating this girl who believed in my faith, which is called Vaishnavism, and I asked her all the questions I had about life. And I asked everything you could imagine. I asked more than this list, and I recommend you ask even more and think of more questions that you're genuinely curious about life, because that is the only way to start feeling fulfilled, because there is an answer for you out there to make you feel satisfied. And there is an answer to everything. The list of questions that I wrote here, and I'm willing to conversate with anyone in the comments about my beliefs, but these are the questions you should start asking yourself to start directing yourself for more spiritual fulfillment and actually have an end goal for something beyond this lifetime, because you're limiting yourself by thinking this is it. The list of questions I wrote down earlier was, what is the purpose of life? So that's an obvious one. And a lot of people see these types of questions in movies and they're like, That they think that it will be magically revealed to them, which I guess by God's will it is kind of magic, but it is out there and it is possible to seek, but it's not just going to come to you. You have to be searching for it. So that's why I recommend you ask it not only to yourself, but to people around you. You know, if you see someone that has things going for them, ask them the purpose of life. It might be different than what I believe is, but I still think you should be searching. First question is, what is the purpose of life? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of humans as a whole? And as a prerequisite for all these questions, I want you to realize that the reason I believe in my faith, and I have other videos talking about it, you can go watch those if you want to learn more, but the reason I believe in what I believe in is because it is not limited to any reality. So it's not limited to materialism. It has no end because it's fully tied to God. And you'll start to realize that these questions all align with the idea that God is infinite and our souls are eternal. The next question you need to ask yourself and other people is, where do we go when we die? Where do you believe you're going to go when you die? And if it doesn't make you happy or fulfilled, it's probably not the truth. What really is heaven and hell? And is it really the end? What is our soul, and what is good and bad for it? What actions are better than other actions? So, gradation of action. What action can I do that is actually better than other ones? And we know this is real because God is a part of our soul. So God is the super soul of all souls, which means that we were given by our creation some form of morality. And we don't always have the purest intuition, but we are a part of God. So there is things that are just biologically right and wrong based on our consciousness. So a bad thing, an example of this would be masturbation. It makes you feel like shit. There's so many negative effects to it. Not just that, just like eating like shit. You see this in the way we live. Gradation of action. If I eat like shit, I think worse thoughts. I want to delete myself. I look gross, etc., etc. So what actions are purer than other ones, and why are they pure? Not just, what makes me look good, but also what spiritually fulfills me, and what actions actually lead to that. And usually they all align, but spiritual and physical. Sometimes they don't, and that's for another video. What is the purpose of the bonds in my lifetime? So a lot of people have connections in their lifetime, and they don't understand why they're there for them. I always think this. Maybe somebody told me this once, but I've always had this idea that God reveals lessons through people. And not just lessons, but I guess knowledge. I don't know if lessons would tie into the same word, but lessons and knowledge through people. So God, like for instance, if you're dealing with a heartbreak or just love, like you have a good relationship or a bad relationship. Let's say somebody left you though, right? What is the purpose of that relationship? Why did it come into your life? Because God has perfect timing, and there's a reason for everything that will happen in your life. What is the purpose of these relationships? And how can I be a positive impact for all of them? And that's for another video. But ask yourself that. And we can also talk about this in the comments. If you want to see me explain my perspective, I'm more than happy to explain all of these in one. What knowledge is the purest of them all? And then I'm going to add another one because I think that's it. But another question I would ask is karma real? And yeah, I think that is good. I would ask yourself these. And for the people, there's also probably one to begin. Is God real? And I believe God is real. Voice crack. I believe God is real. And I don't even think it's questionable. What God is revealed through science, nature, everything beyond. So these are the questions I'd ask. And as you start to ask them, there's a analogy in my faith that's in one of the books called Revealed Truth. It explains that humans, or just consciousness, is like a radio signal, and you're not always in the right frequency, but to be in the right frequency, you have to be searching for God. And so God only comes to you when you're searching the right frequency, which is searching back. And so God only comes to you when you're looking for him. So the more you ask yourself these questions and you start to ponder about what is the purpose of my soul and what is actually progressing it and what is making it worse, then life situations will start to reveal themselves to you. And by God's mercy, you'll be blessed with the information. But it is a journey. And there's a quote from, I put it on one of my private Instagrams, or my all Instagrams, whatever. And it said that God is not a sweet ball from the market that we can attain so easily. So it's saying that you can't just go to the market and get, oh, here's a book about God. Like, I found the truth about everything. It's going to be a journey, and it's going to be difficult. But if you are putting in effort, God will bless you, and he will see your efforts to actually make progression in this lifetime, because there is progression for you to be made in this lifetime. And if you're not progressing, you are going backwards, which another banger example of this is Casey Neistat's video. It's called Life Explained in 20 Seconds. He's on like the airport escalator, where it like makes you go forward on its own. And the only way to get ahead is to hustle. And if you stay still, you go backwards. And if you stay at a normal pace, you're just stagnant. But it's going backwards. That's the example. But yeah, the only way to get ahead on it is to hustle. And so you should be trying to utilize your consciousness to impact the world better, but impact yourself, because you can only save other people if you've saved yourself. Anyways, I be yapping. Damn, it's like 15-minute recording. Yeah, I don't know if this one will do good, but I just felt the need to talk about this because I see these interactions with people like at the cafe, and then I ask them questions, and they're always like, I never really thought about that. I'm like, well, have you thought at all? Because this is very basic life questions. So it seems when you write them on paper, but once you actually put them in application, nobody actually does it. And so I think hopefully more people can start to think about this, because this is the reason we are here, is to get back to God. And we are not meant to be in a material consciousness, and there are better things for us and our soul. Yep. Most people don't think anymore. Change that.